Welcome back. It's the Kovacs Report, and we are going to take a look at Fantastic Four number 5 by Ryan North and Humberto Ramos. Now, I am going to mention right at the beginning, I'm not a big Ryan North fan, okay, and I'm not really enjoying Fantastic Four, but as this was a little one-shot story with Felicia here, old black cat, I thought I'd give it a go. And that cover, I've got to admit, it was pretty cool, right? You've got her creeping through the backs of the building. She's stolen a bag of loot, including Herbie. And there's the Invisible Woman looking down at her, not very impressed. I thought, you know what? We'll give it a shot. So that's what we're going to do. We'll go through it page by page. So there will be spoilers, which means please do read it first. If you don't want it spoiled, like the video if you can, and please do hit subscribe. I'm trying to grow the channel. I'd really appreciate your help to get there. I thank you in advance. Let's dive in. Like I say, Ryan North, let's be honest, one of the laziest writers in Marvel's bullpen. Never really been a fan. Nothing's really resonated me so much when I go, wow, I've got to buy this. I've got to keep it on the shelf. I want the limited edition omnibus. But here we are. He's been writing Fantastic Four for quite some time. He's got into this groove. He has this sort of like gosh darn ha 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 sort of style of humor, which doesn't always hit with me. And that's where we start this book. The boys, they're off. All the boys, they're off for a little boy date in the negative zone. They're going on a fishing trip, right, which leaves the ladies at home on their own. So, of course, it's girl night. So Alicia, or is it Felicia? Felicia? No, it is Alicia. There's Alicia and Felicia in this. It gets confusing. Anyway, Alicia is here. Okay, and she and Sue are going to have a little night to themselves. But before anything can happen, there's a bippity boop. And I really get right there, a bippity boop on Sue's mobile phone. And she looks at the video because there's someone at the door of the Baxter building, right? She's got her Ring camera set up. And she finds out that there's a lot of cops surrounding a blood-soaked Felicia Hardy black cat. And she needs help because she has been accused of murder and she's innocent. Now, what we do learn over the next few pages that Sue doesn't really like Felicia Hardy. She doesn't like her at all. She's a thief. She can't be trusted and she doesn't really want to help her. But, you know, Sue Storm is a good person. And at the end of the day, she will help people even if they don't deserve her help. But after some convincing that Felicia is not a murderer, Sue agrees to help her for Spidey. Okay? For Spidey. And that's where we find out what happened. Okay, so there is a bank, there is a vault. And by panel 4 of this, you already know who the villain is. Yes, this is typical Ryan North. Okay, the whole cat is out of the bag. I've been waiting to say that since I started the video. The cat truly is out of the bag right at the beginning, and I will show you. You know who the villain is, then you've got to read another 20 pages for it all to be revealed. So what's happening? Well, Felicia says, listen, Sue, a girl like me, all alone in this big city, has to take care of herself. You don't leave your birth certificate out on the kitchen counter, and neither do I. So at this vault, she goes, the manager, who I like because he was a guy named Teller, and he works at the bank, hilarious, led me into the vault. There were no cameras inside it, and the ones outside were down. The repair guy was just leaving. The repair guy was just leaving. There he is in the corner, just leaving. I wonder who the villain might be. Anyway, Teller told me to take my time and to put my box back when I was done. He was going to wait for me at his desk down the hall. Thanks, Teller, she says. Just doing my job, Mrs. Marcini. So I took the photos, replaced the box, and left. It took 5 minutes tops. I was on my phone as I walked down the hall, and I tripped over the body and the blood because all of the people had been murdered. Well, not all of the people. I take that back. The bank teller had been murdered. Yes. And she says, listen, according to the guards, nobody else went in or out while Teller and I were in the vault, and the cameras just happened to be down, apparently. She says, it gets worse. And she explains that there's only one way in and one way out, right? So if it's not showing on the cameras and everyone else is telling their story, it looks like she's a murderer. So Sue goes off. She has to try and convince herself to help this woman because she really doesn't like her. And that is reinforced over and over again in this book. Why? Because the payoff at the end is obviously going to be that they're best buds and Sue's got a new friend, and don't judge a book by its cover. That's where we're going with this. Yes, yes. I know it's very, very Fantastic Four-esque, but it's a little bit too kiddie for me. But anyway, I digress. She turns invisible and breaks the law, of course, and goes into the bank. Because the best way to solve a crime is to commit another crime. And in she goes. And she says, okay, there's no trapdoors, there's no tunnels, nothing hidden, and there's nothing invisible. Okay. And it's cool that she can use her powers to turn the floor invisible to check these things. And she looks at all of the plans again, and she watches as the cleaners are cleaning up all the blood. And there's a lot of blood. Okay. A lot of blood. And she realizes there's one room that's Felicia didn't mention, because she goes into great detail, a lot of detail about the plans of this bank vault. But there's a little bathroom behind the manager's office, the teller's office, right? That she didn't mention. Maybe she didn't know about it. Anyway, she goes in there, and you know what? It's completely functional, cool, and completely unremarkable. No one could have been hiding in there. She just doesn't understand what's going on. So anyway, she says, I'm going to roll the dice and turn visible again. And she does. And all the guards obviously spin round, draw their weapons, and kick her the hell out of there. I mean, honestly, what did you expect? Anyway, as she walks out, one of these security guards, Gracie, says, listen, meet me later. I can tell you something. All right. And that's what she does. So we go to this little coffee shop. Gracie turns up. Okay. And she says, listen, I've been fired. I've been fired. They saw I was talking to you, or I wasn't agreeing with the turn of events. Okay. And also the fact there was a burglary and lots of jewelry was stolen. $5,000 worth of jewelry was taken. And because we said that we were in there, okay, and we didn't witness X, Y, or Z, they think we're lying and maybe we're involved in that robbery. So fired me and reported us to the cops. But there we go. There we go, which further implies that Felicia is telling a lie. You know, she said she was in there for 5 minutes, okay? There's only one way in and one way out, and no one else was seen. So it must be Felicia, right? Anyway, off we go. Back to girls' night with Alicia, and they're chit-chatting away, as girls do, okay? And, you know, Alicia's saying you need to give her a second chance. You know, everyone deserves a second chance. So she convinces Sue that, come on, just be nice to her, help her out. Don't give up on her, because this is what Sue wants to do. She wants to give up because the evidence just isn't there to support the fact that she might be innocent. Now, here's where we get a moment where she leans back and she asks what time it is. And it says, it's 11:45. And oh gosh, oh golly, that's solved it all for me. I've completely solved it now. I've completely solved what went on that fateful night. And off she goes. So she says, I'm going to do something special here. I'm going to pull a press conference, okay, because I want to bait this jewelry thief into stealing this giant ring that I've got. Now, she upsets the press because, you know, when the Fantastic Four, you know, call a press event, it's going to usually be quite a big piece of news. But this was just about a giant gem she wanted to show off. But it's worth it to save a friend, of course. And off they go to the bank. This is where it gets a little bit silly, right? It's one of those sort of whodunits, and at the end they reveal it and go, well, this guy did this guy did this guy did this. And that's pretty much exactly what happens here. So she goes in, she keeps Felicia invisible, they get into the vault, and they put the ring there, and then suddenly everyone vanishes, apart from Sue Storm. Why hasn't Sue Storm vanished? Everybody else has. Well, it turns out that, guess what? The repair guy, yeah, the repair guy from the beginning. It's him. And he just so happens to have this gun, which belonged to Kang, which can do stuff with time. So what's been happening, guys? Yes, well, he's been sending people into the future for 10 minutes, which gives him 10 minutes in the present time to do whatever he has to do and get the hell out of there. Now, the gun isn't fully repaired, doesn't work 100%. So that's why he's only got 10 minutes of one of these Kang's time guns. How he got it, who knows? But he managed to fix it. Yes, this repair guy managed to fix a piece of Kang technology. Anyway, why hasn't she gone into the future? Well, because of her unique powers, it keeps her grounded in the present. Anyway, he punches her in the face, force fills her head, and he points the gun at himself, okay, which sends himself 10 minutes in the future. Now, she's like, of course, it's all working out. I was right. She makes herself a little invisible sofa to sit on. Now, the guards materialize back to where they should be, because that 10 minutes has elapsed. She pushes them away because the guy's going to rematerialize soon as well. And there he does. And she breaks the gun, puts him on the floor, and the mystery is solved, because this is the end of the story. But it isn't. we get some more boring explanation of what happened. Okay, he's the thief, and what happened was that his gun only had a certain range, and because the teller had gone to the lavatory, the bathroom, he was out of the range, so wasn't sent 10 minutes in the future with the security guards, and the thief on the way out saw him, and there was a scuffle, and he got killed. That's what happened, so that he didn't get caught. There we go. And why did he come back to get this other gem? Well, of course, you know what? He needed more money because he had to rush out of there and didn't get the big haul that he wanted. There we go. At the end, we get a little moment here where all three of the girls are chatting together, waiting for the boys to get back. And while they come back, we get this typical Ryan North comedy where they're singing together, they're all drunk, eating chips, doing it just like the boys. Hey! And the boys come back in and they're a bit stunned, and the girls are like, see you later, we're off to Vegas. Kiss, kiss, goodbye. And that's it. That is it. It's not for me. Well, I really want to like Fantastic Four. I really, really do. But as long as Ryan North's writing it, I'm really, really not. Now, was it a fun little story if you like Fantastic Four? Yeah, absolutely it is. Is it sort of next level stuff? No. Am I being too harsh? Probably just a little bit, because it wasn't terrible. It wasn't terrible. It just wasn't very good. You know what? You knew who the villain was from the beginning. You had some ridiculous explanation of how it was done, and you had the girls can do it better sort of throwing through it, and now we're all chums and we're all friends now. It's like, come on, who is this written for? This was written for teenage girls, let's be honest. And I'm not a teenage girl, so because I'm not that target audience, I'm not 9 years old either, I didn't enjoy it, really. And I just wanted something a bit more. I wanted something more fantastic than this. And it really, really isn't. Let's talk about the art. It's pretty good. No complaints, really. It's a bit scratchy here and there. But you know what? On the whole, very, very acceptable art by Humberto Ramos. So no real complaints. But the Fantastic Four book needs to do something soon, because these little cutesy stories are starting to wear a little bit thin. But it's okay, guys, because we've got a ton of events coming up, as you might have guessed from my video where I talked about events. So maybe something pretty cool and serious, and I don't know, something different is going to happen soon with this book, because it is getting boring, guys. It is repetitive, and I'm not enjoying it, and I want better. Anyway, there we go. This is Fantastic Four issue 5. Those are my thoughts. This week's panning out as a week for bad books. It really is. I need some good books to review to balance out all of these books that I think are a little bit substandard. Anyway, let me know anything in the comments, like if you can, and hit subscribe too. I'd really, really appreciate it.